Well, I do know this. I know that we had 3 games that we really got into 4 games, and the stats, hitting wise, went significantly up. Pitching wise, they went significantly up too. They didn't go down like they were supposed to. But I think that there's so many factors in the game. There's whether a guy's slider is really working that day, and sometimes the mental part is to help you get through those days on when it's not as sharp as it was the day before. We gave up a lot of runs, which was uncharacteristic of us, but we also scored more runs in the 3-game set than we did all year long. So I seen spikes in statistics, but I also seen in some places where, I seen spikes in a bad way too. But, that's also the game. I don't think that was necessarily, vindictive of the program or anything like that, or their lack thereof. You also sometimes it's a competition, and the other team's pretty good too. So I mean it's one of those things that sometimes you just get beat. I've seen more of those behaviors in the younger guys than I have with the older guys. Again, the older guys really they played well, but sometimes whenever it's a skill set, and I don't think that their skill set of the program is developed quite to the point to where we had a whole lot of time to be able to measure that. But I will say this: I think that the younger guys are going to have more of a window to be able to do that, and you got to have a window to develop a skill set. It's like whenever I give hitting lessons, whenever I can't make in one 40-minute lesson, I can't make a kid, regardless of how talented they are, they're not going to leave there hitting like Babe Ruth or Ken Griffey Jr. when they leave there in 40 minutes. So it's a skill set that over time they're going to get better. And that's where we're at right now with the young guys. They're implementing it every day. They have their books, they're reading. They're into it. So I mean, they're doing everything they can. Well, the biggest thing that I really am just kind of in awe with, and especially in the book, is the fish tank promise. The fish tank promise.
You like the fish tank?
I like the fish tank, man. And the reason why is because you always get that muddy water. It doesn't matter what part of life you're in there, and it's constant. It's constant, and it's something to be able to regulate that, and it's something that that muddy water's in your life every day. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, even when you get overwhelmed, you can be having a great day, and very rarely do we have those days where we have no muddy water whatsoever come into our head. I mean, you can be having a great day and run into a person that you had a sour experience with, and then there's that muddy water again. So it's a constant battle every day. So that was something that stood out to me. Well, the one thing that I've noticed that the book is very well written, and one thing that I liked about the book is that you shared personal experience. Human beings really connect with personal experience, especially whenever you've had an experience that's like theirs and how you overcame it. A lot of us sit there and we see guys overcome extreme situations, and we look at them and we're in awe of those people. We're like, wow, they really did that. But I've never really went through anything like that. What really gets us as human beings is whenever you've been and you hit something that, okay, you know what, I went through that exact same thing, and it makes me feel better knowing that somebody else is feeling the same way that I feel.
You mean like everybody's got all this crap in their head, man?
Yeah, man, it's constant, and that's why I like the fish tank. I mean, it's something that you've used the word purge a lot. I've heard you say the word purge. And it's something that and it's a skill to be able to do that. And you see a lot of people that aren't able to do that, and they end up doing things that human beings shouldn't be doing, So I mean, and everybody's been to that point. I've been to that point where you get to the end of your rope and you're like, hey, man, I really don't really care what happens over the next 24 hours or so, and then finally your mind kicks in. And you're like, okay, let's start figuring this out, And I feel like that's a skill set. I feel like that's a skill set in its own too, you know, and that's something that the program helps with. And that's what I hope, you know, I pass on to my players as a skill set, to be able to overcome things like that. Not just, like I said earlier, not just in the game of baseball, but in life, you know, because, you know, life is, they're going to deal with things way worse in life than they are on the baseball field. But if I can give them something to be able to overcome that adversity, then maybe they can overcome it in their personal life. I would absolutely, I would definitely recommend the program to anybody. This is not just limited to sports, you know. I mean, I would sit there and venture out to say that it's for everyone, you know. And I really think that people, not only in the corporate world, but, you know, in the sports world, but I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, I would even go to far as say that it could help in people's marriages, you know. I mean, it's something that is, you know, and it's not a feel good. You know, I'm not going to a psychiatrist, and I'm not sitting there and I'm not telling you, hey, these are my problems, I need you to fix them, or for me to get something off my chest. No, I mean, we're trying to give you real solutions to what, you know, how to fix those things, you know. And it's I would definitely recommend it to anybody, not just baseball players or football players or anybody in the sports world. I definitely would recommend it. Biggest thing I would say to anybody that wants to get involved into the program is, you know, don't just roll up your pants and stick your foot in. You know, I would suggest that you take them off and you dive in. You know, and the reason why is because you'll find out that later in life you're going to realize that the mental part of life, and not just in sports but in everything else, it'll knock you down, you know, and we have to have that skill set to be able to pick ourselves up. And the biggest thing is I want, you know, if there was one thing, is I would say that people need to do this sooner than later. And that would be the one thing that I would advise. You know, if I would have had this type of roadmap and I was aware of what I was doing when I was successful, who knows, you know? But I'm not into what ifs. Yeah, exactly. I feel you.
Got you raised up.
I feel you.
My man.
All right, man.
Boy, this has been
Yeah.
good, brother.
Yeah.